Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's good to have you here. Right now I am working on prepping a canvas. So I'm going to be painting my little paint with me that I'm going to be doing in my art class this month. I normally do an art class every month on the second Thursday of every month in Oakland. If you're ever in the Bay Area and you want to come paint with me, I'm someone who really uses color to represent like my emotions and how I'm feeling. So if you're feeling called to other colors, I encourage you to try other colors. With that being said, let's get started and do our little palette. Burnt sienna, primary blue, light violet, primary red, yellow, and white. So they're going to create the colors for the sunset first. And we're going to start with this really dark navy blue in the sky and move into two different shades of purple before we start adding a little bit of white. Or I think just a shade of purple before I start adding white. Little by little by little until it turns into a pink, and then a little bit of an orange and a bright red right where the sun hits the bottom. So now the sun can be as big or as little as you want. That's going to be the bright yellow. So we're going to create that color as well, but we don't want to paint it until everything is dry. So basically I'm going to take this dark blue, and I'm not using black, but I am using this burnt sienna, and burnt sienna is gonna help darken the colors a little bit. So as you can see, the color of that is already much darker. Now, I wanted a dark color, but not that dark, and I want a little bit of purple throughout my sky. So a good way of having purple throughout my whole sky is including it from the very beginning, right? So that's gonna be my first color. Once you have your first color, I kind of use my palette knife to push it all together, and I'm gonna move it to this side of the canvas. I'll put the colors that I made right there. With the little bit of the color that is left, we'll add a little bit more purple. And let's see. You want to blend it and see how you feel about your color, especially in comparison to this color. So I like that color. I think it could actually be a little bit more purple. Could it be a little bit darker now? Maybe. You want to go a little bit slower with the dark pigments, because as you can see, that just turned it very blue. So we take that color, and that will be my second color. Pick it up and move it over here. With what's left of this color, I'm gonna pick up the last of the purple, and just in case I need it, because I feel like I should make more paint than just that. So now we blend. Okay, now that we have our next color, we're going to separate it. So now we got three colors right over there. So they're looking a little bit blue on the camera, but I promise you that there is a little bit of purple. To make the purple shine even more, let's do what's left of that color with a little bit of red. So now this purple is a lot brighter. I actually think I'm gonna mix these two together because I liked that brightness. And I'm gonna split up these two colors, and this is where I'm gonna bring in the white. So with this white, I'm gonna lighten it, and I'm gonna actually add a little bit more red. So you'll see that the red comes in a lot of sunsets because of the way that it reflects into the light. So that's very beautiful. Once you have a color that you like, move, and I'm moving 75% of the color. Okay, so I'm mixing the color and I'm making like a pink color. Like now my purple is moving towards the pink wave. And you want to add white because it to be pretty light. Perfect. Now take 75% of this color and move into the side. And to this color, we're going to add a little bit more red, a little bit of yellow, not too much. Yellow is the opposite of purple, but yellow does help translate the color of the sun a lot here. So you got a little bit of red. Okay, now we're gonna go a little bit more orange. This is a good color for the sun, but I'm gonna make it lighter. We'll make that color again. There's a lot of blending with this particular painting, and I always do my blending off camera. I mean off over here on my palette because it just makes it easier. Okay, a little bit more red. Now this is a part where the sun is touching the water. So these are the colors that we started with, and we were able to blend all of these colors for our skies. Lowering the horizon line. I'm gonna do it. This is like the crafts brush from Michaels, and I use it a lot, so let's go ahead and do this one. And we have our palette, and we're gonna start with the darkest color and work our way to the lightest. So dip in. Without cleaning my brush, I'm going into the second paint. And I didn't clean my brush because we're pretty much just painting the blue. It's a lot more blue than that one. Okay, I'm gonna go into the next color, which is this purple. And what I'm making sure that I do is I do these long brush strokes. Now, the colors on your brush are a little bit dark now, so I'm going to recommend that you rinse your brush. And we're going into the next purple. Okay, it looks like this one needs a little bit more pigment. With this same brush, I'm not cleaning it. I'm gonna dip into the next color, which is like that pinkish purple, and I'm gonna do my big stroke right here. Feel like living. Next, we're gonna go into the next color, which is this kind of like creamy color. And then we're gonna put that creamy color right in there. Don't make it up and down. Just make sure you only side, 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 and then blend up. Okay, you can kind of see there's a big difference between those colors, but just let them dry before you come back to them. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and dip into our orange color, and our orange color is gonna come down here. This guy right here, and you see that I still have plenty of paint left, and that's because we're actually gonna go through painting the sky one more time to just make sure all of our colors are really well blended. Okay, so now that it's dried to the touch, we're gonna go ahead and do the second layer, and we're gonna do the same thing. from darkest to lightest, doing a rinse right here when we go from that dark to that light, but no other rinse. So this one, and you see how it already becomes like a lot darker and thicker and just like, yeah. And then you go into the next blue, and because it's already painted in the background, it's gonna help create a little bit more of a seamless blend, and it just will help your painting look thicker. I'm gonna clean my brush real quick. Three colors. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rinse. And the rinse happened right here, so I'm gonna do this one next. I do want to leave a couple of colors on my palette because I'm gonna go ahead and use them in my water. Dip it into the little bit of the darker purple. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow and I'm gonna take a little bit of white, and I'm gonna make a really beautiful light yellow, and this is gonna be my sun. So in the middle, I'm gonna do my sun right here. So just make. And after you have your little sun, you can go ahead and remove the little. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the blue, and I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the blue from the sky and a little bit of this. So I'm just creating kind of like a blue that is a little bit dark, but there's a little bit of light to it. And then I added a little bit of burnt sienna so that it would be kind of like in the distance, a little bit less saturated. And I'm gonna make one line. Okay, so I created the line, and so that's gonna be your little horizon line. And then I'm gonna do these like little lines. And I'm gonna keep this color kind of like in the distance. And I'm gonna keep doing the same kind of like brush strokes like this. I'm gonna add more white. So these little brush strokes are helping me kind of like create the water. So that's kind of the whole brush stroke that we're gonna be keeping on the bottom. So like in the top, we made sure to use brush strokes that were like long and that were on the wide side of our brush. And now we're making sure to use our brush on the thin side, and we're making sure to like pull away. And you don't want to put too much pressure down, because if you put too much pressure down, you get bigger brush strokes like this, which you can just always like kind of cover them. And I mean, we're going to be painting layers, but you see how you get a little bit much more of a natural look if you're not thinking about it too much. So let's go ahead and bring it down. I'm going to create a little coastline right here. We're going to create the sand, so we're going to take a little bit of this dark brown, a little bit of white, and a little bit of this color. So blend it. I want it to be... No, it's not the color of sand. I feel like it needs a little bit of yellow. That's good. Okay, so there we go. A little bit of... There we go. Now let's clean our brush. There's from our palette that we originally created. But we're gonna go straight into this blue color. And with this blue color, we're going to come to the back of the painting. And we're gonna do the same technique. Now you want to do the technique with enough room for the back color to show up. You want the back color to show up, and you can even leave a couple of like white strokes as well, but you want your brush to be doing most of the work while you're just having fun tapping away. Okay, so that's the blue, and with this blue I'm gonna bring it pretty far down because this is my bluest blue. So I like to think that the ocean has a lot of blues, so that's why I'm gonna kind of bring it to all. Clean your brush, and we're going into the next color on our palette, which was a dark purple. Now we're gonna keep the dark colors kind of like towards the front. So we're gonna use this dark purple. I'm gonna bring the painting kind of like right there so you can see. So I'm gonna make sure that okay, so here we go. So here's a... Next we're going to the lightest. And I do bring a little bit of the light color down, but I'm going to keep it kind of like in the middle. But because water's reflecting the sky, you can bring some of them down. And if you just kind of make them sporadic, that looks pretty too. And so you want to keep going little brush strokes, little brush strokes, little brush strokes, all the way. You can focus now on painting the white parts, but you don't necessarily have to, because you can keep coming back with you can make more shades of blue and bring them back, or you can come back with other colors of paint. And so that color, and we're gonna go to the next color, which is this one. If you add a little bit of water to your paint, then you can actually use your brush for longer and it comes. So I'm gonna tell you how to do the part of the ocean because I was taking a call while I was filming this and I was talking to my mom, so I actually had to mute this entire part of the video. But I want to kind of let you know what the techniques that I went ahead and used. So I did switch to a little bit of a smaller liner brush, one that kind of looks more like a pencil or like a pen, kind of like a typical paintbrush look. And I'm going to create these small little brush strokes that are kind of just long and skinny throughout the whole water. So a really good technique here and a really good thing to remember is that you want to make sure that you are lifting your paintbrush from your canvas. So you do a little stroke and you pull away. You do a little stroke and you pull away. So as you can see here, my hand is very light. So I'm just kind of like wisping it across the entire canvas, just creating these little lines that I'm not necessarily thinking too much about. Right here, I'm adding a little bit of darkness to the front. So I wanted to create like two little waves, so I added a little bit of the darkest color to the front part to then add a little wave and create a little bit of depth. So as you can see, that kind of like added a little ruffle into the ocean. Going back in here with the blue, I kind of just bring it throughout the whole ocean. You're gonna see that I dip into the colors and then I kind of do these little brush strokes through the whole ocean. So unfortunately, I did have my camera turned off when I added the sun reflection to the painting, so I'm gonna just talk you through it. You're going to use the same yellow that you used to create the sun, and you're gonna bring the reflection all the way down to the water. Now you can see in the part where it's like the dark blue for the ripples on the waves, I didn't add any yellow to there because essentially the wave itself would be blocking the sun from hitting that area. I put a little bit of red around the yellow because it kind of helps it become a little bit more realistic, and then I went back with the cream color and started adding a little bit more cream highlights to the painting. What you want to think about is the darkest part of the sky, which is all the way at the top, is going to be reflected all the way at the bottom in the closest part to you in the painting. Whereas towards the back, towards the horizon end of the water, you're going to be seeing a little bit more of those creams, yellows, and orange colors that I'm using right now. I am bringing the colors slightly and sporadically throughout the whole painting just because light travels in really beautiful ways, so I want my painting to look as natural as possible, and that's why I'm kind of like bringing the water or the light colors a little bit forward, and so hopefully that helps you a little bit. So I'm just taking these nice little brush strokes, making sure that I lift my paintbrush off of the canvas every now and then lightly finishing all of these little details of adding a little bit of light to the water. If there's any parts that you have that are white still, this is a good time to cover them up. At this point, I don't think I have any white on my canvas at all, so I'm really happy with where we are with the reflection of the water right now. We already darkened up the waves in the front, so now we have to lighten them up. Painting a lot of the times is about contrast, so I'm taking this light purple and kind of creating a little bit of waves on top of the dark color, making sure that the dark color kind of creates like a little texture or a bump. I'm going to go ahead and take the same color a little bit closer to the shoreline, to the water that is touching the shoreline too, to just kind of create the same illusion of colors in these. So you want to make sure that there's some dark color in there towards the back to create the illusion of the reflection of the darkness of that part of the wave that is kind of like blocking the sun. And then you want to bring this light color to the front to kind of
accentuate that sea foam. So we're going to be adding a little bit more of a lighter blue and a little bit of a white onto here next. So this is kind of like preparing us for that seamless blend. So here I added a little bit of white to the second blue on the palette. I'll show you right now. I'll point it out. There you go. And I went ahead and kind of put it on top of that like little lavender on top of those dark blue colors, and that's essentially just creating more of an illusion for when I add the white and the sea foam. So titanium white is a super powerful color, so that pigment will just draw your eye, which is why I add it last and why I add lighter colors behind it to just soften it.
Okay, so I'm taking the burnt sienna and then some of the blue, and I'm making like a dark brown, and I'm gonna take this dark brown and I'm gonna bring it against the shoreline a little bit so that like that, right? And then I'm gonna and I'm adding a little bit of white to make it a little bit more gray, and I'm not necessarily painting, like, I'm keeping it textured a little bit down here because I do want it to be kind of like it's the sand, right? And the same way that the water has a little bit of texture to it. There we go. The last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of white, and just straight up white to our painting. So I'm gonna add a little bit of white to the here. Like the sea foam. And there we go. Okay, so here is the finished painting. I hope that you're super happy with your painting. As you can see, I did move the shoreline. You're more than welcome to do that. It's up to you. It's kind of like when you take a photo, you know, like if you hold it high up or if you hold it down, kind of like the effects that you're gonna get. So I'm really happy with how it came out. I hope you're really happy with how your sunset came out, because it was really fun, and I hope you were able to relax and just find a little bit of peace in putting all of the colors down and in the techniques. I'm so grateful that you were here. We'll see you soon with another paint with me video. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, make sure to check them out. Make sure that you subscribe before you leave my channel, and that you hit the little notification button so that you're notified every single time that I upload a new video, such as this one or anything else. If you wanted to buy some art, my website is going to be linked down below, as well as all of my social medias, so you can follow me and follow along with whatever it is that I got going on. So thank you for being here. I love you. Goodbye.